Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. In this video, we're taking another look at XRP to give you an update as to what has been going on in the last 24 to 48 hours. And with yesterday's candles, does this mean that actually we're not likely to see a C-Wave correction, or is the C-Wave still in play? As we get into this, guys, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really appreciate that. If you are new, make sure you subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will not miss another XRP update. Right, we're going to kick things off, guys, with this weekly chart just here. So like always, before we get into those smaller time frames, I really want to make people very aware of where things are likely to go, because sometimes we can lose patience if we're just looking at those hourly candles day in, day out. But ultimately, it's important that we zoom out and we take a look at where things are going. Okay, so for XRP, we have got some interesting targets kind of set out. For me personally, the Fibonacci retracement tool from the all-time high down to the low from down here, which took us all the way to just below basically 10 cents, right? So since this high of $3 and I think it was 89, 84, something like that, 83, in that area there, all the way down to the low of 10 cents. This actually then plots out these extension levels for the Fibonacci, right? So we have basically XRP's price target just short of $16 on here, okay? So that's my expectations with the bull run, but again, it could overextend this depending on some of what happens with the SEC, the Ripple lawsuit, and whether or not they get clarity. If clarity is discovered here for XRP, that might actually then pave the way for banking institutions to use it freely without worry of SEC involvement and things like that. That could actually be pretty bullish on the extent of where XRP is likely to go. Okay, so lots of fantastic things on the horizon here. One thing that I'm very confident on is that it doesn't matter whatever happens with the lawsuit, win, lose, settle, all of that is kind of irrelevant. The price is going to bump up significantly after the fact anyway. And again, this is testament when you look at over all of the other cryptocurrency platforms that have either settled or been found guilty of securities violations, or even had the cryptocurrency classed as a security. Those particular tokens have just gone absolutely nuts afterwards, right? They've gone completely insane gains, right? So the same is likely to happen here with XRP. Now, to take it from the current position up to that $16 range is over 1,200% in gains, okay? So significant portion of gains to be made just by, nothing amazing happening, just, a settlement or a loss, even getting classed as a security. It doesn't really matter. This is the kind of expectation on that kind of front. Now, of course, if the banking sector is able to get clarity on XRP and actually able to utilize it without fear of being sued by the SEC, well, that could basically then actually take this right up there, right? And obviously, I've said this before in many different price prediction videos for XRP, $67 kind of resonates quite well. So I'll be watching out for all of those kind of things. I do think it's going to do well this cycle, but really 2025, 2030, this is where XRP, in my opinion, really comes into its own. So some pretty good growth is likely to happen. I really wanted to start there on this video with obviously where we are going in this cycle and what to expect long term. But again, let's actually dive down now into what is going on with the daily, because this is where we start to really get into the ABC correction wave. And obviously, it's something I was talking about yesterday, right? We were seeing, the loss of support. Now, we actually lost support yesterday, and we actually gained support right away, right after, okay? So we technically lost support on the 26th briefly, and then we started the next day, we pushed down a little bit lower, but then we actually closed quite high, right? A higher high overall. And then we started to come back down today. Now, a lot of people then are asking in the comments, does this mean that we're not going to see the C-Wave? Unfortunately, that's not the case. The only way that you wouldn't see the C-Wave correction at this point would be to actually get a candle that goes and closes above the B, okay, the top of B here. So what you're actually seeing here is unfortunately another ABC inside your ABC. And again, this is just something you would normally see anyway, right? So within our C wave correction to the downside right now, we're also in another ABC wave, right? So if I actually grab that, you can take it from the top of A here, and we can take it down to where we were yesterday. We might actually push up to this point here and then come down to C, right? So I often talk about how there are waves within waves, and this is generally what you're going to see. So even though we're on one of the waves to the downside, inside that wave, there is another ABC wave to the downside, right? And inside each of these, depending on what your time frame you're looking at, there's also more waves. Okay, so right now there's wave within here, so we are pushing up, but we are looking to basically pull down, unless, of course, we can get above what's that? $1.30. Okay, so if we can get up here above $1.30, that would invalidate this. We will no longer see this this ABC wave correction. Okay, although we are above support now, this is pretty good, but obviously we'd be mindful over what is potentially on the horizon. With this being said, though, guys, there is some pretty good stuff going on with the stochastic relative strength index and the relative strength index that is indicating that actually we might invalidate this altogether if the markets do turn incredibly bullish, right? And we do actually just invalidate it and push right back up. And if that is the case, which is definitely looking like it could be on the cards, then ultimately we could just remove this ABC correction altogether and continue the growth to the upside. So the main thing for us really is holding a support line. This is holding well for us now, even though it was broken yesterday very briefly. We have now gained that back, so that's positive. We are oversold on this daily chart. We jumped down into our hourly, and again we're still all the way down here, right? We've pushed up a little bit. There's still room to drop back down if we need to, but there is more room to the upside than there is to the downside. So that's a pretty positive note here, right? The breaking of our support line down here, even our trend line has been broken significantly. So I'll just push this back over here to this side. You can see what we mean, right? So our trend line was broken, then we pushed right above our trend line again. So right now, if we hold the trend line and we hold the support line down here, then ultimately, yeah, we should hopefully be in a really good position to continue moving upwards, looking to get back up into this yellow box area here. And like I said, looking to get that closed candle. If we just go to $1.31, for example, that would be sufficient enough to invalidate the ABC correction wave. If we do not, though, the push up that we saw yesterday and the decline today could be what is actually needed to take us down to that C wave correction, finishing it off. But with that being said, there isn't too much room to fall back down, right? We've got a little bit of room on this hourly, but not too much, not a lot of room to grow back down into. So when we talk about this C wave correction, yesterday we actually put this down here at 93 cents. It may actually be shorter than that, right? It has to be lower than the bottom of wave A here. So we are talking about dropping down below $1.07. This wick down here wasn't quite there yet, so it needs to be a little bit lower than this. So we obviously do need to drop down a little bit lower than where we wicked to yesterday. So we'll probably come down. There's a couple of areas of interest to me, right, on this correction wave, and I will do some for the members, guys. I will actually do some kind of I guess buy zones and accumulation zones in here, because I think there's going to be something in that area there when we wick into it, right? So I think 93 is the lowest it would probably go to. I think a nice sensible area to also be paying attention to would be the $1 level, and that would come in just down here. Again, a little bit lower than our low of our A wave here, but otherwise looking pretty good, and a good motion to the downside would basically then get us gearing up to really take advantage. Moving further up, talking about going up to that $1.44, that would really be the bull signal that takes XRP to the next level, right? So loads going on this daily chart, lots of fantastic positive things to kind of talk about and to think about, but ultimately, yeah, I think right now we have to be just cautious. If we hold support, that would be fantastic, but we are of course wanting to basically invalidate this ABC. It hasn't been invalidated yet, but it is definitely on the horizon here. We're kind of halfway through. It could go in either direction at this point. If we see good volume and good sentiment come in with the rest of the market over the rest of the weekend, and it turns very bullish, then we could see a significant push back to the upside. If you do not break that, I do fear that Monday will finish this correction of C, and then, well, say Tuesday, actually, bank holidays Monday, so we'll go into Tuesday, finish off the C wave, and then next week we should go back into a bull scenario where we go back up to the upside in a significant way. And ultimately, these corrections, they're just short-lived anyway, right? So that's why I like to start on those weekly charts, because it's important that we do zoom out and we really take stock of the bigger position, where we are heading as we think about closing Q3, going into Q4, and starting the new year in a really strong way. And again, guys, once we peak this bull run, my expectations are that XRP will be a minimum of around that $13 range, and I think we're going to potentially wick up to the $16 range. And again, if XRP gets clarity, well, the sky's a bit of the limit really with the banks and everything that could go on there. So everything on the moment on these short time frames are looking pretty good. Everything is indicating that actually we should be pushing up, but the sentiment isn't quite there yet. We take a look at the volumes, and what can we see? Well, we see a decrease in the volume, right? We see a loss of momentum overall. And that's actually good, because we were in this correction, right? We can see a good volume coming in as we're pushing the price up, and then we kind of peak it out over here, and then we see obviously a decrease in volume. That basically the loss of momentum helps protect the price up here, which is good to see that. But obviously that means that we're not in a buy. Not a lot of people are buying at this point, right? So we could basically start to see this kind of fall back down a little bit if people do actually start to increase their selling pressure as they realize that ultimately it's coming up against a lot of resistance. So right now everything is on the cards, so we should be pushing up, and if we do push the price up above this B, we'll be in a very good strong position. We've got plenty of room to grow on our stochastic here on the daily chart. The hourly chart is very much aligned to that as well, nice and low, plenty of room to grow. All we need to do is actually just shift this sentiment now. We need to see the volume actually go to the upside with a good buying volume, squeezing the supply. That should take us to the next level, and it will be very, very good for XRP to really get back into this area here and claim above the 702, right? Because this is ultimately where the top of this area really started, really kicked off. So what we're looking for is basically to get above $1.34, the 702 of the Fibonacci retracement tool, and then once we're plus above and close, preferably weekly, on above the $1.44, that's the bull signal that will really then indicate going after the first targets for us, okay? And those targets obviously do come in just up here. The first target that we have kind of marked out for XRP comes in at about $2.87, although it is a little bit higher than our 1.618, okay? So we'll just be mindful over that. And this is basically talking about the Fibonacci from this area here down to this area here, okay? So when we actually take this and we place it over here, we can see that that aligns with our price target. Okay, so first of all, what we're looking for is this signal, this ABC correction to finish, getting the closed candle above $1.45, and then obviously we're talking about potentially going right back up and looking at the next 786, which is actually a $1.66. Okay, so there's a few things we have to be quite mindful of, what is going on the here and now, and obviously where we are anticipating things to go in a slightly longer term. So right now, everything for XRP really, it does ride on holding support and getting some good buying volume coming back in. Failure to do those two things will basically see a C-wave correction come in, and would basically be looking to drop the price down to, I think, as low as 93, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will go that low. It could be a few different points. Like I said, $1 seems pretty good as well. Hopefully, guys, you have found this brief XRP update useful and informative. If you have, then do go ahead and hit the like button. I really appreciate that. If you are new, do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. It is free. You'll stay well informed, so why not? With that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.